if you knew you were enough? What would your life look like? What would love look like? This is the Enough Factor broadcast, where we're redefining what makes you enough in life and in love. Now here's your host, Suzette. Hello everybody, it's your life coach and relationship solutionist, Suzette Viernon, and welcome to the Enough Factor podcast. If you're new, what I want you to know is that each week, this podcast endeavors to amplify what I've identified as 3 critical factors of enoughness: your voice, your value, and your vision. And the reason that I do that is because I have observed over these many years as someone who has been working on her relationship self as well as coaching other women in doing the same, is that when those 3 areas of our lives are working at their maximum, we are happier with our lives and with our relationships. But when we struggle in our relationships, usually we have compromised. We've compromised either our voice, our value, or our vision. And so with this podcast, we focus on this, redefining what makes you enough on your own terms, so that we can stop the cycle of failed relationships and attract great love into our lives. And for those of you that tune in each week, I am so grateful. You are the wind beneath my wings. You're the reason why I show up each week. It's because of you. And so this episode is to encourage your heart. If you are having difficulties in your relationships and you feel like God doesn't care because the more you pray, seems like things get worse, I just want you to know that God cares about your love life. I want you to know it. I want you to know it, especially if you're a high achieving woman who has been graded for most of her life based on her performance, based on what she does. I want you to know that who you are matters. If you don't do anything else, who you are matters, and your desire for companionship and true love matters. It really, really matters. It's easy to believe God isn't as concerned about your love life as He is about your service. How you do what you do, your work, your ministry, you're extending yourself. It's easy to think that the reason God loves you is because of your acts of service. It's because of what you do. It's because you strive to dot every I and cross every T. And even though faith without works is dead, I also believe that works that are not authentically aligned with who you truly are, that doesn't matter either. As a matter of fact, it says in the Bible that though we speak with the tongues of men and of angels, if we have not charity, aka love, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a sounding brass. It's just a tinkling cymbal. It's just a lot of noise. So that lets you know that love means a lot to God. And I think sometimes because we think of agape love, that love that we have brother to brother, sister to sister, human to human, that because we hear about that a lot, that we feel like God is not concerned about our desire for romantic love. And I just don't believe that's true. One reason is because the very survival of our species is contingent upon a sperm entering an egg, a sexual act, right? A pleasurable sexual act. Now, some may say it's more pleasurable for men, but hey, we grown folks, right? Women, we have a lot of pleasure spots all over our bodies. And we're able to have multiple orgasms. So for you to think that your romantic life, that your sexual life is not important to God, it goes against the very nature of how we're wired. Why would God go to the trouble to put in us an attraction for the opposite sex? And that our survival as a species is attached to that, if it wasn't important. Why would he give us the potential to have pleasure, to be pleasured in the act of having sex, if it wasn't important to God? Right? Why? Why would he do that if it wasn't important? Why would he do that if he wanted us to minimize sexual pleasure, minimize erotic love, minimize affection, minimize chemistry, minimize desire, minimize a desire for love if it wasn't important? And I know getting your heart broken, getting abused, being treated wrong by the opposite sex can wound you to the point that you feel like, okay, God must not care about this because he keeps allowing me to get hurt, keeps allowing me to get it wrong. He keeps allowing me to look for love in all the wrong places. So it must not be as important to him as these other areas of my life. But let me tell you, your love life is just as important. It is just as important for you to invest in becoming good at relating, invest in aligning with your authentic truth. It is just as important for you to invest in becoming your real and true self and bringing that real and true self to the table. It is that important because guess what I found out? I found out that the pathway to true love isn't chemistry. The pathway to true love is not this fantasy that we've been fed. The path to true love isn't falling in love. The path to true love isn't losing yourself in love. The path to true love isn't trying to figure out what a man wants so you can give it to him. The path to true love is not becoming a good actress so that you can be chosen by a man. No, the pathway to true love is for you to figure out that you're enough. That, my dear sister, is the path to true love. And sadly, many of us high-performing and high-achieving women who have been graded on our performance, we have not been taught that. And so we put so much of our effort into what we do, how we appear, instead of who we are. You know why? Because we've been taught that who we are doesn't matter. It's only how good we are at being successful based on somebody else's definition. That's what we've been trained to think. that our success is predicated on how well we can live up to somebody else's definition, whether it be their definition of success or their definition of love. And it's not true. It's not true. God cares so much about your love life that He exposes everything that's not in alignment with who you truly are, because He loves who you truly are. He cherishes who you truly are. He wants you to get in alignment with who you truly are. He wants you to love yourself the way He loves you, and to see yourself the way He sees you. He wants you to cherish the very parts of you that people have made you feel like aren't good enough. That's why I say the pathway to true love, the pathway to real deal love, the pathway to true satisfaction is in knowing that you are enough. That there's nothing to improve on. That even at your worst state, you're still enough. That even when you don't cross every T and dot every I, you're still enough. That even though the last man walked out on you or rejected you or made you feel like something was wrong with you, guess what? You're still enough. And I don't believe God wants you to give up on love. Now, I do believe He wants you to leave people alone that make you feel like you're not good enough. How could anything work, any relationship work, that doesn't edify who you truly are, that doesn't celebrate who you truly are, that doesn't have the capacity to embrace you as you truly are? And that's the beautiful thing about love, ladies. This is what I found out about love. I found out that real deal love has the capacity for your strengths and your weaknesses, for your flaws, for those things that you love about yourself and the things that you don't. I have to say this. My husband has seen me in some very unflattering lights, but he has never, ever shamed me for it. Sometimes my feelings in my sharing with him how I felt about something he did, it doesn't make him feel good, but he has never shamed me for my feelings. That's love, y'all. And before I met my husband, I didn't know that someone could love me to the point that they won't let me beat myself up. They won't let me put myself down. They won't let me blame myself. They won't let me kick myself. He won't let me do it. Because He loves me and He sees the truth about me. The truth about me is, despite the flaws, I have a beautiful heart. A beautiful heart. And that's why I want you to align with your authentic truth, so that you can see what makes you truly enough. That's why I work with women. I work with them first and foremost in their self-esteem. Because even the woman that feels like her self-esteem is not in trouble, it is if she's basing her self-esteem on how well she lives up to somebody else's definition. She is in trouble if she hasn't taken the time to get to know the beauty and the grace even around her flaws, even around those parts of herself that other people rejected. If she only based her self-esteem on how well she's been able to compensate for those parts of herself that other people have rejected, then she's still in trouble. Her self-esteem is still in trouble. Because your self-esteem, listen to what it is, self-esteem. It doesn't say that you esteem somebody else's definition for yourself. It is the real deal, authentic you, yourself. It is esteem for who you truly are. Warts and all, flaws and all, room for growth and all, mistakes and all, shortcomings and all, flaws and all, being deeply human and all. See, true self-esteem means I esteem myself. But in order for you to esteem yourself, you have to know yourself. And in order for you to know yourself, you have to go deeper than somebody else's definition of you. You have to go deeper. I always encourage people, don't walk away from the parts of you that you don't like. Don't walk away from the parts of you that you've been taught to be ashamed of, to blame for your current state. No, walk toward it. Because in those flawed, deeply human parts of you is the answer to your soul's deepest need. There is a part of you that wants you to love her as she is. That's waiting for you. That's waiting for you to show up. That's waiting for you to love her and bring her into your romantic relationships. Ladies, I found out that the real culprit in romantic relationships is not men. It's the parts of us that believe that we need their validation, that we need them to approve, that we need them to resolve that big question, am I enough? But the truth of the matter is, a man does not hold the key to your enoughness. He didn't create you. Only your Creator holds the key to your enoughness. Only your Creator, who knew you were going to be the way you are, who allowed your mom's egg and your dad's sperm to unite, knowing what was going to come in with that DNA. He knew what was going to come through, what parts of your parents you were going to have proclivities toward, what parts of them you were going to carry. God knew that and still said you were beautifully and wonderfully made. He knew what you would have tendencies toward. He knew that being raised in the family that you were raised in, that there were going to be certain things that you were going to experience that were going to cause you to doubt yourself and question yourself. He knew that certain things you were going to be socialized. There were going to be some areas of socialization that you were going to have to deal with later. He knew all those things and still allowed it because he knew you were enough. And if you took the time to get to know the you behind all of this, the you underneath the socialization, the you underneath the appearance that you try to live up to, the real you, that if you can see grace in the real you, if you can learn to love the real you and be okay with the real you, then you can't help but attract great love. Because the greatest love of all is learning to love yourself. The greatest love of all is being able to love you, even those parts of you that other people have shamed you for. That if you can love her, then guess what? That's great love. And great love attracts great love. You cannot attract great love until great love shows up inside of you. And even if you meet your Mr. Right, your ability to allow him to love you is directly in proportion to your ability to love yourself. You have to allow him to love you in those areas, right? And you can't allow him to love you in those areas until you take down the barriers. It takes trust. It takes trust. We fear what we don't understand. We fear it. We fear it. And in order for us to allow someone else to love us, then there's something that has to happen in our hearts that says, hey, he can be trusted. He can be trusted. And so you open your heart to him. And by your opening your heart to him and allowing him to pour love into you, guess what? You learn to love yourself. It's one of those, it's a give and receive type of thing. You give love to get love. You get love to give love. It's not one-sided. I'm going to say it again. You give love to get love. You get love to give love. You can't give what you don't have. And sometimes the Mr. Right in your life has to find an opening so that he can try to love you. Because he knows if you will allow him to love you in that area, you will feel loved. And you'll be able to love him back. It is reciprocal. Love is reciprocal. And I really truly believe that there's some areas that though I worked on my relationship self, yes I did, there's still some areas that once I met my husband that I could not have achieved on my own. And his love has been such a healing presence in my life that it has made me more lovable, more touchable. It's made me less defensive, less hard. It's a beautiful thing. So if you believe that God would not withhold any good thing from you and that your love life matters to him, then guess what? Your desire for love is a good thing. It's a good thing. And I don't want you to give up on it. I think that's one of the reasons why I've been purposed to work with high achieving women to help them break the cycle of failed relationships so that they can attract great love into their lives, because there's healing in it. There is healing in love. Love heals you in a way that nothing else can. I believe God uses romantic love because it's an intimacy that's deeper than any other. And it heals, it restores, it renews, it edifies, it makes you better. It truly does. It makes you better. It makes you a better human. It makes you a better mother. It makes you a better friend. It makes you better. So why wouldn't God care about your love life when he knows that a great love life makes you better? A great love life energizes you. A great love life nourishes you. And I've said it before, a great love life heals you. So why would God not be concerned and not care just as much about your love life as he does about anything else? So I just wanted to stop and just let you know that, so that you'll stop when things go wrong, that you'll abandon love and go work on yourself. I did a Facebook and Instagram live about that, about if working on yourself really is it the answer, or is it an excuse? Because some of us use working on ourselves as a get out of jail free card. Our ego is what motivates us to do it, because our feelings got hurt. In love, our feelings got hurt. We got disappointed in love, and so we decided to go work on ourselves. But unless you are working on your relationship self, it's not helping you to become better at relationships. Like I said, you can't run away from relationships and expect to get better at them. You can't retreat, go work on yourself as a single entity and expect to come back and be great at relationships. No, you have to work on your relationship self. You have to work on the you that shows up in relationships, because she's the one you have the problem with. When you're not in a relationship, it's easy to think everything is cool. It's easy to think that, oh man, I got it going on. I am all that. I am healed. I am whole. I am blessed and highly favored. It's easy to feel like that when you're by yourself. But when you can feel like that in a relationship, then you know you have done some work. Because relationships should not be hard. Relationships should not be dramatic. They should not be depleting and draining. You should not lose yourself in relationships. You should not come out of a relationship worse than you were when you went in. No. That same joy and excitement and enthusiasm that you have when you're by yourself, you should have that in a relationship too. And if you don't have that, it's the wrong one. If you cannot be your full, wonderful self, and I mean the truest you, that part of you that feels joy, that you that's unscripted, unrehearsed, that real deal you, right? So if you're in a relationship that's making it hard for you to be you, and I mean the real you, then I dare say either you're in the wrong relationship, or you are too afraid to show up and ask for what you want. And that's the reason why you're still getting what you're getting. It's one thing or the other. Either it's the wrong relationship, or you are not asserting your authentic self. You haven't brought her into the equation. You're not allowing her to ask for what she wants. You're not allowing her to stand in her authentic truth. You're not allowing her to be herself. Something in you is afraid to show up. For your soul's joy, I urge you to show up as yourself. And if the you that's showing up authentically is different than the you that your boyfriend or your husband or your significant other knew, then don't blame him for being upset, wondering who this woman is, because you never showed her to him. Don't be upset if somebody gets upset with you because you've been pretending to be somebody else all this time, and now all of a sudden you want to be your true self. Don't get mad at them. You bear some responsibility too. You bear some responsibility for allowing them to believe a lie. You know, when you don't bring the real you to the table, you have to admit, you have to own the fact that you've allowed the person in your life to believe something about you that's not true. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to jump on for a little while and just talk to you a little bit, and to let you know that God really is concerned about your love life. And I believe He wants you to be concerned about it too. He wants you to be concerned enough to stop handling your heart, your body, your mental and emotional health casually. He cares so much that He doesn't want you to be playing around with it. That He wants you to be intentional about who you spend your time with. That He wants the best for you. He wants someone who can love you and care for you. Someone who will honor your standards and your boundaries. And for many of you, the first step is to work on your relationship self, because you haven't been working on it. And as a result, every time you get into a relationship, you lose who you are. See, you can't lose something that you know. If you're losing yourself, it's because you don't know yourself. If you're losing yourself, it's because you don't truly know who you are. You don't know how valuable you are. And that's why you give yourself away so quickly. You compromise. You betray yourself because you don't know how valuable you are. You don't know. And it doesn't matter whether you're wearing a suit, or whether you work in corporate, or whether you are a millionaire. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you tend to lose yourself in relationships, then you don't know your value. I mean, you will so easily give yourself away bit by bit, piece by piece, until when you get to the end of the relationship, you don't even know who you are anymore. Then you don't know your value. And that's why I said work on your relationship self. Because you don't know your value in relationships. Right? And if you want to talk about it further, if I'm talking to you, reach out. Reach out and let's talk. Okay? Well, until next time, I want you to never, ever, ever forget that you're worthy, you're worth it, you are more than enough. Bye now. You have just listened to the Enough Factor Podcast with your host, Suzette Vernon. To get notified of new episodes or to dig deeper into today's topic, become a subscriber. And while you're at it, tell us how we're doing and what topics you're interested in. We appreciate your feedback and your reviews. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, you are enough.